trained as a molecular scientist with a PhD in bioorganic chemistry and an MBA, Board Mosmuller is an experienced NDB and tech transfer entrepreneur with a passion for technology, innovation, sustainable and circular solutions. His versatile background lies in programming, program risk management, business development, and technology transfer, including startup support management and advocacy. After being involved in his own tech transfer consultancy, he joined DSM in 2009. His role at DSM related to innovation and sustainability advocacy, representing it in a broad range of European fora. In 2019, he became one of the founding fathers of the European 4 billion Euro bio-based industries public-private partnership before joining Niaga. Niaga is the go-to innovation partner that provides product design principle, material innovation and technology. It sets itself apart through material stewardship, transparency and closing the material rules. Together with partners, everyday products are redesigned with clean and infinite materials and reversible connections only. Dr. Mosmuller joined Covestro in 2021 with Niaga was acquired by Covestro. Please give us a warm welcome to Dr. Mosmuller.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Well, thanks for the introduction. What that actually says is that I'm very old, because it's so long, and I enjoyed the earlier speakers when I see that young people are so engaged in the topic, and just then maybe an old guy trying to contribute to that as well. I will guide you through some slides, and I'm not quite sure whether I am in the right spot, because it's on circular systems innovations for plastic waste. And please do the next slide. We will try to avoid waste, and I will tell you how we try to approach it. Next, please. I work for a company. Next slide, please. I work for a company called Niaga, and I hope you will figure out by the end of the presentation what that is about. Indeed, we try to redesign everyday products. Maybe first I try to explain what linear recycling or downcycling in circulars, and that is seen on the next slide. A linear economy makes products, uses products, and they then can only go to waste. In society where things can be reused maybe once or twice, I would call that downcycling. But the area where we try to be active in is what we call the circular economy, and we try to prevent waste actually. We want to make sure that the materials and products are useful in the next similar or similar value product. Next, please. So what we try to do together with partners is make sure that we redesign their products, and I will give you a few examples because we are active in 3 areas. Next, please. We try to work from our mission, and that is a world without waste. And that's a totally different approach than we have done so far, because currently also in some of the presentation we try to get rid of waste or use waste or recycle waste, which is a good thing because there is of course a lot of waste still that we need to deal with. But some rethinking on products could at least help us start from now and solve the future waste issues, at least in some areas. And we try to use some design principles for that, and that is shown in the next slide. So first of all, when we look at a product, we say keep it simple. Simple means that we try to avoid having several different materials in a product. If you can use one, do that, because then recycling is much more simple. We also try to use what we call clean and infinite materials. Infinite means that the materials need to be recyclable from the start. And clean means if you can avoid additives or any other additions to materials, then that is absolutely preferable, because then, let's say, unwanted materials do not accumulate, and the recycling process is much easier. And the third part is, if you need to use more than one material, make sure that you can disconnect. And we have some technology that helps in that process. We'll get to that later. Let's start with the why we do this, and that's shown on the next slide. We are active in what we call bulky one-product waste topics. And you see here carpet mattresses and furniture, and there are a few more innovations. But we are actually active in these three, and I will give these as examples. When you look at the numbers of waste, and even if you translate that into material value, you see some staggering amounts of weight of materials going to waste, where by smart design that would not even be necessary. So that is the why, that's where we started from, and we started with products and got that to other applications. So maybe a bit more on what we are as a company, as shown in the next slide. We are what we call an innovation platform, and please on to the next slide. We are an innovation platform, and we have some technology on materials, especially also on that reversible bonding that I referred to. We have a lot of expertise with application developers on how to use these technologies in different applications, as shown in a few minutes. And we know a lot about how to process, how to design processes. Hence, how to also redesign processes as take care of a new concept of making your products. As said, we are working in carpets, mattresses, and panels. And at the bottom you see some sort of tag, and somebody was already referring to a material passport in the EU, and I will get to the tag and the material passport at the end of the presentation. Let me give you the three examples. We redesign the carpet. You need to know that a carpet consists sometimes of 30, 40 different materials, which is, when you think about it, a bit crazy. But, well, that's just what it is, and we redesign the carpet. The carpet that you see is only polyester. And when you use only polyester, then absolutely recyclability is easy to do. Polyester is like PET bottles. It's also polyester. That's not even rocket science anymore, but that's basic. So the recycling of polyesters, and we love to work with polyesters for that reason, is relatively easy. We also saw some other benefits that were also triggered up to other applications. They are easy to clean because the structure is such that vacuum cleaning a carpet is really easy. That makes them also hyperallergenic. No additives added, no flame retardants. That's not necessary with polyester. That doesn't work or create black smoke. It just smolders or melts. And there are no VOCs. Also not easy to install. And on the next slide, you see a bit more on the panels that we have redesigned. These panels do not use any formaldehyde, and a lot of adhesives you see formaldehyde. There are strict regulations in Europe on formaldehyde VOCs, and that makes sure that the indoor air quality is good or is better than in some cases. And the coolest thing about this is due to the click and flick adhesive that we use, that you can take off or peel off the top layer. When you look at furniture, top layers, for instance, think about your own desk, are scratched, and sometimes should be refurbished, and this technology makes sure that you also can refurbish panels, so your desks. You don't have to replace the complete desk, you can only refurbish the top layer, and you have a more or less brand new look of your in this case, desk. And also fully refurbishable, fully recyclable, because it's only cellulose and in this case or adhesive. In the next slide, you see what we did with mattresses. It's the largest mattress from a Spanish partner. There, this mattress only consists of polyester and steel. Steel is the pocket springs that are used in this mattress, and polyester are all the cover layers and the side beams and the cover. So what you see over here consists only of steel and polyester. Steel can be recycled relatively easily, and we are doing that already for this polyester, as I indicated as well. This mattress also is fully recyclable, it's refurbishable, and it also has excellent ventilation. The fact that the materials used have a very open structure, similar to what happened to carpets, and the open structure makes these mattresses the best ventilating mattresses so far. There are no additives needed, as I indicated also in the other application, and it has an excellent environmental footprint. Please click to the next one. As is shown in these graphs, when you look to the right, which are the classical mattresses, if you start recycling or reusing stuff, you see that the footprint dramatically can go down. And that would save 50 to 60 kilograms of CO2 per mattress. And that's quite considerable. In addition to, of course, the lack of materials, the lack of material use, because you can reuse the materials again. I have a graph in the next slide that shows that what we are doing in the Netherlands or in Europe. We, together with a mattress manufacturer in the Netherlands, Alping, we have developed the concept of a completely closed loop. So together with Alping, these mattresses are made. You can sleep on it, and there is a way you can return this mattress to Alping or to recycle in the Netherlands, and there these mattresses are dismantled, the materials are recycled, and the recycled materials are used to reproduce your new mattress. That's the outer loop. However, it's also possible to refurbish the mattress. At least you can take off the cover and recycle the cover. Polyester has another interesting feature when you look at the material as such. It's a lot of, let's say, moist or even bugs that you would find in your bed do not stick to polyester. Hence, the core is clean. We found out another benefit of looking at new materials. So you can refurbish mattresses, or even due to the click and click technology, take off some of the cover layers that we place, and before you know it, you have a refurbished mattress without, let's say, the loss of materials. In the next slide, and I promise to get back to that, maybe a bit more on the material transparency or material passport. We are very much together with our partners working on being transparent about all the materials used in a mattress. And maybe later on, or maybe even here, you can check with your phone the QR code and you see what will happen. But I will show it in a minute in the next slide as well. But we want to make sure that all the materials in a product will be shown in a product passport. Product passport is, as we say, EU ready. That means there is indeed regulation in the EU that for all materials, for all products, there will be product passports, and we are ahead of the curve with the tag and the QR code shown. For instance, in the mattress, it's only steel and polyester, and we list polyester is the polymer family. We list the polymers, the polyesters, and then for recycling, it's relatively easy to find out what the different materials are there in such a mattress. So when you scan this tag, on the left you see how this tag will appear on the mattress. First you will be guided to a landing page. The landing page just says a few things, what's in it, how to return it, and it gives you some background information on Niaga, but in this case also on Open. When you click on the link that says what's in it, you will go to the product passport. And again, the product passport gives you transparency about the materials that are in the product. A lot of people in the industry say, well, we should not be transparent, and it's never done. Never done. In every, let's say, food product, you see a list of ingredients on the jar or on the packaging. So in foodstuffs, it's already done. And when you have a nut allergy, for instance, and you eat something with nuts in it, you really have a problem. Therefore, it's convenient for consumers to understand what's in it if you have allergies. But if you would want to be a more responsible consumer, you could also look what are the materials in products, and hence you could more or less by a simple change in buying behavior, the producers to make more sustainable products. So that's about the product passport. If you click on the link how to return, we'll go to the Alping return page. Alping has what we call the Alping take-back system, and either you can bring your mattress to the retailer where you bought it, or to a retailer, and then with the next shipments of the mattresses, Alping will take it back, or you can go to a recycler. You have some mattress recyclers in Europe already, and especially in the Netherlands, and then it will be taken back through that recycler again to Alping. Together with Alping, we have what we call a dismantling facility close to the factory where the mattresses are made, and there the return mattresses are dismantled, and either the materials are recycled or even could be reused. You can imagine that we started about 2 years ago, that the amounts of mattresses that are coming back are not yet, let's say, the amounts of the waste in the Netherlands in total, but I think about 50,000 mattresses are now out there in the Netherlands, and that's already, let's say, quite substantial. And we have more and more partners, also in the Netherlands and in Belgium, that are taking this technology on board and making sure that, let's say, the industry is shifting or transitioning to more circularity in their portfolio. And Alping, for instance, changed their portfolio from classical mattresses, actually this year completely to circular mattresses. They only have one classical mattress in their portfolio, and the rest of the mattresses are all circular. So one player in industry, and it's a high-end brand, is showing, you might say, industry how they take the road to circularity, their road. Well, that's more or less what I tried to show you. So I'm not contributing to the solution to plastic waste, the current plastic waste, but definitely will try to avoid any waste in the future. And the slogan for me on the last slide would be an important one. Let's not talk anymore about end of life, but let's talk more and more about end of use. That when the first use phase or a use phase is over, as for mattresses, that we return these products to the manufacturer or to the site and make sure that the materials in a product can be reused or recycled. And of course, they understand that not every product might be suited for this, but a lot of products will be, especially if we as consumers change our buying behavior and look for the more sustainable options that we have to choose off when we buy products.